Hi everybody, Paul Folger here. Today we are going to make my grandmother's spaghetti sauce. This is not a marinara, this is a meat sauce. This is something that she used to make all the time. Whenever we would go visit her, she always had spaghetti. And so I want to show you where I wrote the recipe. Right here in a Betty Crocker cookbook that my mother gave me many years ago. So it's a handwritten recipe that my grandmother would always use. So here's really all that you need. You need a pound of ground beef for this. You need 2 cloves of garlic. You need 1 medium-sized onion, a quart of tomatoes, or sometimes those are hard because they're, those are canned. So I use just a can like this. This is 28 ounces plus about 1/3 of one of those, and that will give you 4 cups of tomatoes or a quart. I usually get whole tomatoes and then I mash them with my hands, and that's kind of how I get the tomatoes going. So the other thing that you need, these are the spices that you need. You need 1 teaspoon of basil, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 2 bay leaves, a tablespoon of sugar, and a teaspoon of salt. That's all that takes as far as spices go in this. I went ahead and I started the ground beef. It's already browned here on the stove, and I've got an onion in there and the garlic. So all of that is together that we're making. Now, I'm going to take my tomatoes, which I've already got 4 cups right here. Let's put the spices in here, and then we'll just mix it in. And then we've got a very important step to this that I want you guys to have. I'm going to pour these in like that, okay? There's your spices, ready to go. This is the most important tool for this entire thing, okay? This is a potato masher. All of my aunts, my mom, no one can duplicate my grandmother's spaghetti sauce. She's gone now, so it's fun to make this sauce because it makes the house smell like her house when we would go visit her. When my mom was growing up, they had spaghetti on Friday nights. So that was something that they always did. So this is the potato masher that you need, because none of the girls, my mom's sisters and my mom, they use this. And this is how you get the texture of my grandmother's spaghetti sauce. You also, because you're working with tomatoes, you want to wear a white shirt. Don't do that. I'm gonna wing it here, and hopefully I won't make a mess. I'm gonna stand back. So I put all the tomatoes right into that ground beef, an onion, and garlic. It's all right there together. You can hear it coming to a sizzle here. Now let's get it stirred in. Turn my heat down just a little bit. So I'm going to mix all this together. This smells so good. It smells like my grandmother's house. I love it. I love doing this. Okay, so I've taken those whole tomatoes. I've mashed them with my hands. I've stirred all of this together. Okay, so it's ready to cook. Now, about every 15 minutes, and I let this cook for about an hour, I take this potato masher and I go around the pan. It's nice to have a big pan. Okay, so I go around the pan and I mash it, and you can see it's actually just kind of popped out on me there. So you want to mash it around and around and around and around. What this does is it melds those tomatoes and that hamburger, that ground beef. It goes together right there, and you want to go around and around. You want to try that, I would say, every 15 minutes for about an hour. And you want to kind of cook this kind of low and kind of slow. And if it gets to a point where it needs a little bit of water, you can always add a little bit of water into this sauce just to kind of loosen it up a little bit. But you keep going around and around and around. And you can serve this with, we just serve it with your regular spaghetti type pasta, nothing special, but you can serve it any way you like it with any particular pasta. Also make it a day ahead of time. If you have it and you can make it a day ahead of time, all those flavors will just kind of meld together. You can store it in the refrigerator, and the next day all you do is heat up your pasta, get that ready, and then heat this up, and you're ready to eat. It happens really fast. A little funny story about my grandmother: when she would serve this, she would always serve it with coleslaw. And I never could figure out why she would always serve it with coleslaw. Well, when she passed away, we all went to her funeral. We all went to a place where the family would go sometimes for dinner, and it was called Jim's Spaghetti House. On a Tuesday night, we all went there, probably 12 or 15 of us. We had to wait in line on a Tuesday night in downtown Huntington, West Virginia, to get into Jim's Spaghetti. It was so busy. It's like that every single night. Well, a couple of things. The spaghetti sauce that they had tasted like my grandmother's, and they served it with coleslaw. So I think my grandmother really worked to try and get that Jim's Spaghetti recipe in her head, and she really got so close. I mean, hers tastes like Jim's Spaghetti with that coleslaw. It was just such a great thing to see and kind of fun. So let's give this a little taste. It's over here cooking, and I'll show it to you. It turns out just a nice meat sauce, and you can see it right there. So just a nice meat sauce. Good memories. I take a bite of that, it reminds me of my grandmother so much. The house smells like my grandmother's house. Try this recipe, use the potato masher, and it makes all the difference in the world.